Hey friends, it's Sam. So in today's video, we're gonna be doing one of those like sit down, hang out, have some coffee with me videos, which you know I love. And I say that I love it in the most sarcastic way possible because I believe that I am very awkward on camera, and so this is gonna be interesting. So we have now been in our first house for over a year. I don't know where this year went, like time just flies. But that being said, I've gotten a ton of requests to do a video where we just recap all of the projects I was able to get done in this house in our first year. But rather than us just like sit down and hang out and you look at this face for the next however long we're gonna be hanging out for, I decided it might be fun to go through this home renovation journey month by month, share some clips you might have already seen, but also share some clips that didn't really make the cut the first time around because some of these projects take so long that there's so much footage and some of the footage does not make the final cut. So this feels like the perfect time to share some of that with all of you. And then I'm also gonna be talking a little bit about what I got done versus what I thought I'd get done in my first year of my house because there are still things that are a work in progress. Kitchen. Who said that? And I'm also going to be talking a little bit about what future plans are for this little house of ours. So that being said, this is going to be a video because there was a lot done in this house and there's still a lot that needs to be done. So let's get started. Okay, so before we jump into projects, let's talk a little bit about timeline, but also a little bit about the journey to get this house because I don't know if I've ever really actually shared the process of how we got this house. Long story short, we were looking for a house for about 3 years and the market got wild during the pandemic, as many of you know, and we stopped looking. We actually ended up signing a lease on an apartment. It was like a studio apartment, 600 square feet, super cute, just to save some money for 1 more year to maybe, you know, start looking again. And about 2 months after signing our lease, we found out that there was a house in a particular neighborhood for sale by owner, not for sale by realtor. And essentially we were offered the opportunity to see this house before it hit the market. And we took it and we ran. And I swore I would never buy a Cape Cod style house because I grew up in a Cape Cod style house. But here we are in this cute little Cape Cod style house. And I have to say the first year in this house has just been so incredible. And I could not be happier with how things worked out. Sometimes things just work in mysterious ways, and this was one of those moments. Now, we officially closed on this house on like the last day of September in 2021. Oh my gosh, 2021. Yes, okay. We had to kind of work with the seller a little bit to be flexible on when we could actually move in. So by the time we got the keys and were able to really enter the home and call it our own, it was the beginning of October. So we're gonna call October our first month in this house, and that's where we're gonna start. Now, here's a quick checklist of what I thought I was going to be able to get done in our first year in this house, and I literally am like laughing at myself right now because I don't know why I thought like this was feasible while juggling a full-time job. That's just me. Big dreams, always dreaming big. Okay, so in our first year in this house, I thought we'd be able to get the kitchen done, which okay, so right now it's January and I'm currently editing the kitchen content. So it is done now, but it wasn't done in the full year. It took November, December, January. So 14, 15 months to actually finish my kitchen, but we'll get there when we get there. I also wanted to finish the bathroom. I wanted to do the entryway. I wanted to do the living room. I really wanted to get my garage workshop up and running. Clearly we see how well that went. I wanted to get the guest room done upstairs, our main bedroom, which is still a work in progress. And I also wanted to get the deck refinished in time for our wedding, which was this past September. And don't worry, I will share some wedding photos with you later in this video. I also wanted to get a home gym set up for Chris for his indoor training season. And if you follow my channel, then you know that is the last video I just published on my channel. So while I didn't get it done within that year benchmark, I was able to finish it recently. So happy that's done. So yeah, so that's a pretty ambitious list. I don't know what I was thinking. And honestly too, just to put it in perspective, even though I am now doing this content creation biz full time, for the first 11 months of having this house, I was still working full time. So all of the projects that I juggled in this house were juggled while having a full-time job. So I just want to put it out there, but that does make me really excited because I got a lot done and this makes me feel like I'm going to be able to get even more done this year because I'm now focusing on renovating this house full time. So this is already a doozy of a video. Kudos to anyone who's gonna hang on in there for the whole thing. I love you guys. I myself feel like I need a lot of coffee for this video. So let's talk month one. So the first month in this house was October, and the first thing that I did when we got the keys, honestly, like the first thing I did when we got the keys to this house was we demoed. We demoed the kitchen and the dining room. If you'll remember, there was a wall in between the kitchen and the living room, a wall in between the dining room and the kitchen. So first order of business for me was I really wanted to do all of that major demo while we still had a lease on the apartment and we're not physically living in the house. So Dad and I came in, we demoed the kitchen. That was a doozy. I have a whole video for that. If you missed that one, that was actually a fun video. It wasn't so much a fun project, but it saved me like $4,000 or $5,000 to demo the kitchen and the dining room and part of the living room by myself. And that made a huge difference just in terms of budgeting and being able to spend a little more money on some other things in the house, which was awesome. Rob.
What up?
You're the real MVP.
I got you.
Just brought us dinner while we're demoing. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All of October, demo. November, my big thing I wanted to do in November was I wanted to get the original floors from the 1950s restored in this house. When we moved into this house, there was faux wood laminate flooring and it was floating above the original hardwood floors on the entire first floor of this house. So I demoed all of that laminate flooring. I had a local flooring company come in. I had him match what was the tile flooring in the dining room and the kitchen to the original 1950s flooring and then refinish all of the hardwood floors on the first floor for me. Yeah, this was a huge one that I was waiting to get done to be able to do some big things in this house. Now, I can do some big things in this house. Hiring out for that was a blessing because I was actually really able to do that with the money I saved demoing the kitchen on my own, and he was able to get that done while I was at my full-time job during the day for a couple days. So it was like magic was happening in here while I was working. Another really fun thing that happened in November is that Danny from DIY Danny came to visit me for the first time. She came to hang out for an American Thanksgiving and eat lots of carbs because we love our carbs on Long Island. And she helped me build this custom gorgeous dining room table that I'm sitting at right now and talking to you from. And every time I look at this table, I just think about how much I love Danny. So we gotta get her back here for another project soon. What do you think? Go heckle her in the comments. Let her know that she should come visit me. We should build something cool together. The funny part about Danny helping me build this table in November though was like I still didn't have a dining room to put it in. So it did kind of float around our house a little bit for a few months until the dining room was done. But that's just like the realities of renovating. All right, let's talk about December. So our first holiday season in this home, we still were not living here. And I spent December just kind of like adding a couple of little homey touches. So at this point I was like, there's so much demo going on. I need something constructive. I decided to make a geometric accent wall on the stairwell wall because I originally wanted to actually open that wall up, but there's a header in that wall. We can't do what we want to do. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, so I made a geometric accent wall. I spruced up the entryway and I just wanted the house to start feeling like a house when you walked in and not necessarily construction zone. And that project really, really helped with the momentum of where this home renovation was going. So January, new year, new project. In January, I decided to focus on the guest room upstairs because I was spending a lot of late nights renovating the house and I was still working. So it was kind of nice to have a space that I could crash that was away from the demo zone. That bedroom up there was just like such an oasis. It was so nice to just be able to have a place to stay when it got late, and when, you know, some days I would come straight here from work and I would just be so nice to just rush a 15-minute solid power nap before jumping into working. Honestly, I love that room so much. That really was the first full room in this house that was done, and it made a huge difference just to have one nice space that I could escape to and like be away from the renovation from for a little bit, especially on those days where I just needed to crash. Funny enough though, like I finished that in January, and I think like last month I actually put a door on that room. That was a cool project. If you missed that, check it out. But it's just funny that that room was existing without a door for so long. Good thing like no one was staying here. February, big month. February was the month that I finally was like, we are going to renovate the bathroom. There were two spaces in this house that I really wanted to get done before we actually physically moved into this house. Lies. There were three spaces. One was the bedroom upstairs because we needed a place to sleep. So like that was done. But the other two were the kitchen, we all know how I feel about that right now. And the other space was the bathroom, because this house only has one bathroom for now. It's like enter maniacal laugh. February, okay, so this is funny, but February, I was like, Dad, can you help me renovate my bathroom? We've renovated bathrooms together before, so we were like, how hard could it be? We legitimately thought it would take us like 4 weeks to renovate this bathroom. Well, fast forward to 10 weeks later, and the bathroom was finally done around like the beginning of April. Yeah, that was a project, and that is in multiple pieces of content on my channel. So definitely, like all of these, you can check them out. I'll link everything below this video. But that project was a doozy, and I will definitely be sharing some behind the scenes footage that did not make the cut for that video because that was a huge project. Okay, so now we're all the way through the month of March, which means that we're 6 months into being in this house. And mind you, we have not moved into this house yet because there's still so much to do. But before we talk about the move-in, before we talk about the second half of the year, I think right now is a really good time for me to get some fresh coffee, re-up a bit, and take some time to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Freedom Mortgage. As first-time homeowners, we had so many questions about the home buying experience when we were shopping for our first home, and it was honestly so helpful to have companies like Freedom Mortgage available to us to answer all of our questions along the way. Freedom Mortgage is a family-founded and operated company that offers a variety of loans that suit you and your family's financial and personal needs. Whether you're buying a home or looking to take out a loan to renovate your existing house, Freedom has you covered. When we were looking for a home, I was honestly so nervous that we wouldn't qualify for a mortgage because of my student loan debt and because we didn't have 20% to put down on a home with the way that the market was trending. So having the option to talk to somebody about finances and also have them help me walk through the steps for getting pre-qualified for a mortgage really helped not only ease my worries, but also gave us realistic expectations for how much money we could spend on a house and what we could really afford. Also, now that we've been in this house for a little over a year, we have like all of these dreamy, lofty ideas for projects that we want to do in this house, and we'll talk a little bit more about them later. But basically, like, we want to vault our ceiling in the living room or dormer the back of the house and add a second bathroom. And while we don't have the money on hand to be able to fund big renovations like that, it does help to have somebody like Freedom in our corner to talk through our options, like taking out a home equity loan, which means borrowing against the equity of our house at a lower interest rate so we can still afford the payments of taking out the loan for those renovations. I always talk about partnering with companies that I believe in, that I feel like would be helpful, and I have to say, having somebody like Freedom Mortgage in your side when you are looking for a house or looking to renovate a house or even looking to just consolidate debt is really helpful, because if you're someone like me who feels like finances are a foreign language sometimes, and having somebody who is knowledgeable in your corner is super helpful. If you want to learn more about Freedom Mortgage, you can check out their website and all they have to offer by clicking on the link below this video. Now, all that being said, before I get too ahead of myself and start talking about projects that we want to do in the future, let's focus on the projects that have already been done in this house. All right, jumping back in. We've already talked about the first 6 months of living in this house. Let's jump on into the past 6, spoiler alert, 7 months, because I did have to take a month off for some stuff. We'll get there when we get there. Anyway, so month 7 was April, and in April was, I think, has honestly been my favorite project in this house to date so far, which was creating my DIY fireplace. I cannot begin to tell you how much this fireplace has changed the entire vibe of this home. It feels so cozy. We are putting this thing on like every single night. It doesn't matter if it's summer or winter or fall, like we are sitting in front of this fireplace every single night, and it has just been a game changer. It has made this house feel so warm and inviting. So once that fireplace was done, we felt that we were at this point where we were comfortable enough to move into the house. The bathroom was done, our appliances were in the kitchen. We didn't have a kitchen, but at least we had appliances, and the floor was refinished, and we just had to do some like painting, and I had to do some decorating in the main space. But for the most part, it was ready for us to move in. So in April, we moved into the house, even though it was still a construction zone. It was a little dicey, but we totally made it work. So May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December, January. We've been in this house, living in this house now for 9 months, which has been amazing. Like best 9 months of my life, I'm not gonna lie. Now, month 8 in May, this is when I took a little bit of a breather from posting on the channel, and that is because I really honestly spent a lot of time working on the kitchen in May, which I know you haven't seen yet, but May was when my cabinets were kind of like finally delivered, and a couple of things that I had ordered that were on back order were finally starting to show up in my life. And so this is when I really really hustled to get things done in the kitchen. Doesn't mean I got the kitchen done, it just means I was able to get a lot of work done in May. In May, I also decided to finally take some me time, and I went to Canada and I went to visit Danny and we built some furniture and it was epic. If you missed those videos, you can check them out on my channel and on her channel because that was such a fun trip and I really, really cannot wait to start building with friends again. Okay, so now we get to June, which was month 9 of us being in this house, and that is when things got serious. In June, I started to realize that I had told people that we were going to have a wedding in our backyard in September, and our backyard was not ready for a wedding in September. So June was when I started to really just like hit the ground running on getting this house ready for a wedding. In June, I installed AC units in this house, which was so important because June gets very hot here. And since I was already cutting holes in the side of my house and closing up holes in the side of my house, I decided this was a good time to do a custom accent wall in our bedroom because we knew that we were going to be having people come in from out of town and stay at our house during the week of the wedding, and we needed to start getting some bedrooms ready so that people had actual places to sleep. Now, once those AC units were in and the wall was done, it was time to focus on our wedding venue, aka the deck. I have this really great talent for renovating decks and exteriors during the hottest months of the year, so that's what I did. Okay, legit though, like forget what you read in fitness magazines, the best wedding workout is renovating a deck. I'm just gonna put it out there. This is a fitness channel now in case you weren't sure. Anyway, I spent pretty much every single waking moment that the sun was out during the months of June and July just renovating that deck, just getting the outside ready for our wedding. It was a lot, but it was so worth it. And the wedding was beautiful, and I'll share photos in a little bit because we're getting to that point in the video, but yeah. I'm very proud of that project. I just have to say, like, I think it turned out pretty cool. Month 11. Once the deck was done, I was really able to start adding some really great finishing touches to our home. And even though we had moved in April, we hadn't really had a chance to make the space feel like ours quite yet. Like, yes, it was ours, but we were living in a construction zone. So finally in August, I decided it was time to make the space feel like ours. And I spent the month of August getting our living room ready for us and our guests, and that was just a great project. Now, I talked about this in the living room video, and I had a couple of people who were not so nice about it in their feedback in my comment section. As much as I love our living room and this space, and it is slowly transforming into like this space of our dreams that we really want and like envision for ourselves, there are still projects that I want to do in the living room that I haven't gotten around to doing yet. We have only been in the house for a little over a year, and sometimes it just takes a while to get a space to feel like it is the space or like the space that you envisioned. And my workshop is not set up yet, but like there are certain pieces of furniture that I am just craving to build for that living room space, and I'll get there eventually. It doesn't mean I'm not grateful for it. I have immense gratitude for this house and this space and the living room and the kitchen and everything that's going on. Like my heart bursts at the seams every single time I wake up in this house. I literally wake up every single day in this house and I have to like remind myself that like this is our house. It sounds stupid probably, but I'm just so grateful, and I don't want me saying that our living room space not being where I want it to be yet. I don't want that to come off as sounding ungrateful, because I really just have immense gratitude for this house and a roof over our heads and where we are and how much has been done in this year. But yeah, but in the same breath, I still have a desire to do more with it. And I think that that's a normal part of living in a home, right? Is that it's always forever going to be changing. Like, don't be surprised if we revisit some of these spaces in the future. And we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this video. Now that we've been here a year, there are a couple of things that I already want to change, and that's okay, right? Like, that's okay. Anyway, enough ranting. Let's keep going. It's a long enough video. So September was a lot. The reason why I'm going to be adding October to this list of like our year in review, and technically yes, like October is 1 year of us opening the door to our house, but if we're talking about like full months, September was a lot. So in September, as a lot of you might remember, Chris was injured in a cycling accident second at a major race in Vermont. And he is doing a lot better now, but the month of September was a little dicey there. He was pretty much like 100% bedridden. So because of that, I ended up taking the month of September off and helping him through his medical needs. We like thought about maybe we need to postpone the wedding and maybe, you know, we need to like reevaluate a couple things, but he's a champ and he powered through and we still had our beautiful, perfect backyard wedding in September. It was so low key. We had our closest friends and family here and it was just so beautiful. But September was this roller coaster of emotions and I needed to take that month off to focus on family, and I'm so glad that I did. Did it put me behind on partnerships and project deadlines and videos? 100%. At the end of the day, like personal health, mental health, family health, like those are all priorities. Those come first, and I would not have traded taking off September to focus on all of those things for anything else. That was my priority, and I'm so glad that I did that. That being said though, September, our wedding was perfect. I wouldn't have done it any other way. I'm so proud of us for sticking it out. Like we've been together for a long time. We've been together for 13 years and we always knew we wanted to have a backyard wedding. We always knew, okay, we want to buy our house and like the significant life event in that house is going to be a housewarming / backyard wedding. And that's exactly what we did. And I'm so happy that we did it that way. Since I took September off, I'm cheating a little bit because in October, I got a couple more projects done. I was able to complete the sliding barn door finally for the guest room. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. It took me 9 months. 9 months to make a bedroom door for the upstairs bedroom. So I did the sliding barn door in October. And then because Chris was unable to use the stairs during the month of September, I also started to get our bedroom ready to use on the main floor, but it's still in limbo. So, okay, I think that brings us to a year. In the moment when you're living through a home renovation, it doesn't feel like you're getting that much done. And it's funny because I had a couple of friends come to visit throughout this process and they were like, oh my God, like you got so much done. And I remember being like, Dad, like it doesn't feel like I got much done because there's still so much to do. But talking through it and like literally writing this all out for this video made me realize I'm proud of myself for how much I got done in this house, especially while juggling a full-time job. Just in reflecting, like this past year has just been incredible. I really don't think I have any other words for it. I really focused on being present in what I'm doing and present in this space. And I feel the love in this house and from this house. And when people walk through the door and they tell us like our house feels cozy and they feel the love, like that just is like the biggest compliment to me because that's exactly what I want. I grew up in a little Cape Cod house that was so cozy and it was the central location where all of our friends and our family always wanted to gather because it felt so warm and loving and inviting. And that's exactly what I want from this house. And I feel like it's already there and it's not even done yet. And that it's an immeasurable feeling. But okay. Who's cutting onions? Like I'm literally gonna get emotional. Okay, no getting emotional. We're not done with this video yet. Okay, so yes, I got a lot done, but let's talk about spaces that I haven't touched yet. So currently I haven't touched the office space yet, other than moving in some furniture and finally, as of like literally last week, getting rid of some of the old homeowner stuff that was still left behind in that room. So it's still storage, but it's still kind of functioning as a pseudo office. I also haven't touched the garage yet. I mean, yes, I put a new garage door in. I definitely had to, but that is the next project on my list. And I'm definitely looking forward to creating a workshop and being able to kind of spend the months of February, March making that happen. So those are spaces I haven't touched. In terms of spaces that are in limbo right now, the bedroom is almost done. I do need to do some small stuff in there so that hopefully can get done in the next couple of months, and I can't wait to share that with you. And then I also was able to just finish Chris's home gym finally. That's on my channel, was the last video on my channel, and the kitchen content is coming. It is being edited literally as I'm recording this. It's a moving and grooving process, and I will be releasing not one, not two, not three, but four kitchen episodes. And right now, 3 of them have been fully edited. So it's coming, I promise. Now, before I wrap up this video, there is one more thing I do want to talk about, and that is some of my lofty ideas for this house, because I mentioned this before, but being here for the past year and living in these spaces now for the past 9 months, there are things I may revisit. I'm not gonna lie, you know, I keep it real. Obviously, I spoke about this already. I want to revisit the living room at some point. I already have some really big ideas for for it. In fact, Chris and I really want to dormer this house at some point and add a second bathroom. And in doing that, part of that big renovation, we really want to vault the ceilings in the living room so that when you walk into the house, it feels really big in here, because right now it's a tiny house. And so the ceilings feel a little low. And so vaulting the ceilings would be really cool. I'm going to extend the fireplace all the way up to the vaulted ceiling. And in that general space, I'd love to actually revisit the stairway, because the stairway needs a little love. I talked about this in the Entryway video, but the original homeowners were trying to match drywall to plaster, and because of that, it's very uneven, and I don't necessarily want to rip out all the walls to rebuild them. So I have some ideas for that as well. But yeah, so we want to add a second bathroom upstairs at some point. We want to, you know, blow out the back of the house and add some dormers upstairs. And hopefully, fingers crossed, when we do that renovation, I also would love to finally replace these drafty, old, leaking windows that I complain about in basically every video. I'm like literally afraid to open them or touch them because I feel like one day they're gonna fall off my house and we're gonna be screwed. That is also on the list of things I still need to do. Whew, okay, that was a lot. That was a lot. Are you still here? Are there still people watching this? If you are, kudos to you. That was a lot. For real though. Okay, so yes, I already did my emotional thing, but I can't believe this is my house. Like, I can't believe that this is where I live every day and I get to just make it my own. I mean, my dad used to joke all the time that like some little girls dream of like being a princess or having this like fairy tale wedding. But Sam, me, he always says like Sam dreamt of owning her own home. And it's like so true. And I think a large part of that is because I spent so much time when I was younger helping my dad renovate our family home. And I always just wanted that for myself and my own family. And now I have that. And it's just been an amazing experience. I honestly don't have the words to describe how incredible this all feels. For real though, I'd be lying if I didn't say that this, my life, my career now, my home, like none of this would be possible without you and your support. So thank you so much for helping my dreams come true every day, because it's just, how is this my life? How is this my life? I don't know. I couldn't do any of it without you though, so thank you, and I hope that you stick around forever and ever and ever. So while so much has been accomplished, there's still so much to do, and basically that just means that there's a ton of content coming to the channel in 2023. So get ready. It's gonna be an exciting year. It's gonna be a jam-packed year of projects. It's just gonna be epic, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm just so stoked to have you all by my side on this journey. So thank you for being awesome. Thank you for being you. Just thank you. Okay, that being said though, I'm having like a little too much fun right now doing this vlog style video, and part of me just feels like that's because I'm dreading going back to my computer and editing more kitchen content, but I have to do it. It has to be done. So I'm gonna go get that done so that I can share some of that with you. But in the meantime, friends, thank you all for being awesome. Thank you for being part of this journey with me in my house. Thank you for an amazing, amazing first year in our house, and I can't wait to invite you into our space for some more projects soon. But until then, friends, happy DIYing.